Hey everyone, welcome back to our class. So as we finished up this model, just picking up from there. So today, what we're going to look into is Unwrap UVW. So last week in the class, we talked a little bit more about, we went into a bit of a detail about Unwrap UVW. As I explained, the idea of Unwrap UVW is to create a flat, or also known as a 2D layout of our object, okay? 2D layout of our 3D object. So keeping that in mind, we are going to start unwrapping our object, which is our Mijolnir model that we worked on in the class. Mijolnir, sorry, I always spell this wrong, I don't know why. So here's our Mijolnir model. So Mijolnir, as we did yesterday, it comprises so many different objects, correct? And the idea is to understand the concept of unwrap first. As we figured out last week that the idea of unwrap is to open a flat layout. Think of it like a cake box or something, you know? So we have a structure of a Mijolnir which pretty much has a box structure on top, something like this. And then this part protruding out. Something on this ground, pardon my terrible drawing skills. Then we have the cylindrical structure, and then we have one base here, and then a straight cylindrical structure here, another cylindrical structure here. So this is our basic layout of a Mijolnir, okay? Or as you can see at the back, this is what we did in 3D, okay? So when we look at this object, let's think about it, like how can we unwrap this object? Now, when you look at this as a whole, it could sound a bit, or it could look a bit complex, you know? So let's just try to simplify it, okay? So I'm going to use color codes. So when you look at this object, we can easily tell is a cylinder. So that's going to be easy for us. This object also is a cylinder, and this one as well, the same. Okay, so these three objects, in fact, this one as well, pretty much counts on the same design. Okay, cylindrical shape. So that's done. The next thing would be is this structure right here. So when you look at this piece right here, we can treat this as a box or a cube. All right. So I don't know if you guys remember last week we did some unwrapping using a box. So we are pretty much going to treat this object as a box, and we're going to treat the rest as a cylinder. So always keeping that in mind, this will make our unwrapping process a lot easier. Okay, and like always look at complex design in basic shapes, like break it down into basic shapes, and you will be able to unwrap your objects very easily. That's what I believe in, and that's the concept I always look at. Okay, let's think about like a simple cylinder now. So this is our cylindrical shape right here. Imagine if you had a paper right now, an A4 size paper, and you roll it and make it a cylinder. Okay, if I tell you unwrap that paper roll that you've just made, what you're going to do is you're going to start opening it up and lay it out flat, if that makes sense. Okay, and then if I ask you to roll it again, you're going to start to roll it from this side until it becomes a cylinder. That's the idea. Okay, that's just a simple fundamental to understand about unwrapping. Okay, so when you have a cylindrical 3D object right here, what you need to do is when you want to start unwrapping this object, you want to make sure that the top bit, because this part is sealed, and the bottom bit right there, which is also a structure down there, is also sealed. Okay, so you want to take this entire top structure and the bottom structure and put it on a separate layout so that they become flat circles like this. Okay, now we're left with this tube structure. How do we split that? To split that, what you need to do is you're going to cut a straight vertical line, and that's it. This will allow this model to open up into a flat plane. So this becomes your simple flat layout for a cylindrical structure, if that makes sense. So once you have this layout like this, you can easily take this to any of your painting softwares like Substance or Marie, whatever you're using, Photoshop, you know, and you can easily start painting these respective areas however you choose to. Okay, so this is just a simple fundamental to understand. Again, we'll take another example now. Let's think of a cube or a box shape. So here we go. Here is our simple box shape. As I said, we looked into this shape already last week, but just to do a quick recap on this structure as well. So here again, and again, let's not forget there's also structure behind, like this. Okay, so this is our structure, which is on the backdrop. Okay, so again, if you want to open this up or you want to create a flat 2D layout, you want to start creating cuts. Okay, so where would I put my cuts? I would cut this line, I will cut this line, I will cut that line right there. All right, and I will also cut this line right here. Okay, and also this one. So what you're going to get is a layout which is going to be like a cake box, as I explained. So all your polygons will lay out in this direction like this. So this is going to be your first polygon. So that's the polygon number 1. This is your polygon number 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Sorry, I'm doing these dotted lines just so that you understand these are the back areas. And whatever is in the front, I'm making clean numbers over there. Okay, so this is going to be your polygon number 1. All right, then comes your polygon number 2, like this. All right, then comes your polygon number 3, and then right next to 3 we will also have number 5 attached, like this, number 6, and number 4. So that's the kind of an unwrap we will land up creating. Okay, so that's going to be our simple flat 2D layout. Now again, whatever I'm explaining is just simple concepts or fundamentals just to get a hang of, or just to understand the idea of unwrapping. Okay, and once this layout is ready, you can take it to your choice of software and start to texture paint whatever you want, certain details. You want to put text, numbers, whatever you want to paint, whatever blood splatter, or whatever details, oil spill right here, something like this, and stuff. And then what will happen when you bring those textures back into in your 3D software, you will precisely get those textures painted, and you can have really good results coming out in your texture job, and your objects will start to look more realistic, and you will be able to create any kind of surface detail that you were looking at. That's the kind of result you'll end up accomplishing. All right, so this is again just a little concept to understand. So yeah, that's my chapter 1, just to get an idea of the concept of unwrapping. We're gonna now start to apply this in our 3D model, and step by step we will learn how quick and fast the entire process of unwrapping this Mijolnir object would be, and then we'll get it prepared for substance. And and after that we're going to take this to substance and start painting all the necessary details that are needed to finish up our Mijolnir model. All right, guys, so let's get started with the unwrapping process. Now, before we start unwrap, there is one thing that you need to know. Please make sure if you guys have any TurboSmooth modifier applied, ensure that you delete the TurboSmooth modifier, because you don't want to use TurboSmooth at this stage. Like I always say, TurboSmooth is always the last piece of the puzzle. Okay, so let's say for instance we have this leather strap right here. So I'm going to go in and make sure that this TurboSmooth is deleted. Okay, once again, you don't want this TurboSmooth to exist at this point. Okay, that is very, very important. Cool. So that makes your unwrap process a lot easier, just to let you know. And same thing anywhere else if you see any TurboSmooth modifier. Now right now here I see there's a lot of polygons, so I'm just going to drop this down to about 18 how it was before. So that's pretty decent, and all the TurboSmooth I'm just going to start getting rid of now. So everything, you don't want to have TurboSmooth, so just prepare your model first. Like I said, initially we added TurboSmooth just to check how our model looks, but if you you have any Troubleshoot now is a good time to get rid of it. Okay, we're gonna add it later, but at this stage you don't want Troubleshoot. Okay, so once that is ready, make sure to save a copy and hit an incremental save so you have another version of the same file created. So in that way you don't land up messing things. Okay. Another thing is also at this point we don't need these planes. If you're done with modeling, you can get rid of them. It's absolutely fine. Or you can just hide them. I just prefer getting rid of them because I honestly don't see any point of it. And then I am just left with this model. Any other extra pieces that you might have hidden somewhere, just unhide all, go through it, make sure there's nothing left. You just want to get rid of everything that's useless now. Okay, so there we go. So now we can say our model is ready for unwrapping. So once again, as you can see, I have deleted everything, all the Troubleshoot's gone, everything that's unnecessary is gone. So let's get started. So first, like I said, we'll start with the most easiest object, which will be this particular cylinder right here for me. Like I said, I like keeping things simple and fast first, and then work our way towards more complex objects. So as you can see here, we have a cylinder. I'm gonna apply right in the modifier list right here. We're gonna apply Unwrap UVW right here. So that's a modifier that's added on top. So I will just hit this button right here. You can learn the shortcut, it's called Alt-Q. So this will isolate your model. So isolating model is always a good idea because then that allows you to, just hide other models and just see this model in its full glory. That's what I believe in. So here we go. This is our object. This is what it looks like. And like I explained before, we're gonna follow this concept where we will separate this element and this entire piece will be a single plane. So we'll have two cylindrical flat flat areas, and then we can, or circular flat areas, I apologize, and a flat layout like this. This is what we want to go for. Okay, so first thing, you also have in your Unwrap UVW your vertex, edge, and polygon. You can select this polygon right here, and at the bottom you can select this polygon right here. Okay, so once you select these two polygons, you can easily apply different kind of projections. As you can see where my mouse is, you have planar projection. So the idea of planar projection is that we want to project our texture from the top view. Okay, so that will be a flat 2D projection. So that's what we want to create. So I will go quickly hit a planar projection right here. Okay, you can immediately notice that there's this small plane right there. Okay, and you can see the angle of how it's sitting. So if you want to change the angle, you can switch this buttons over here. You can change the angles. I don't know if you guys can see it, but this will be a lot better for you to see. So for me, x-axis doesn't work, y-axis doesn't work, z-axis seems to be the right option. And right here, when I open the editor, let me just bring it back to this window right here. You can see the editor. This is what the overall layout looks like. So this is the open editor button. Hit that, and this is what your layout will look like. Once you're done setting this up, just turn this off. Okay, and I'll just move it outside just to show you what exactly happened. Okay, so you can see right here at the bottom as well in this particular menu, there's vertex, edge, and polygon. So with this, it will allow me to select the polygon. So with the element mode active, and here you can see there are two objects now. And just to show you in this view, you can see this particular object responds to that polygon down there, and this particular object responds to this thing down there. Okay, so this is just a nice way to see things. And here we go. This is our entire layout now. So it kind of looks weird. I don't know if you can see this green line here. This green line indicates the what do you call it, the breaking point or the tear, the split. Okay, so it's kind of like splitting in a weird triangular fashion. We can fix it very easily. It's not a big problem. I always prefer fixing it, so that's just me again. So what we can do to this object here is give a cylindrical projection. You see there's a cylinder object here, just gonna hit that. And you'll see this cylindrical shape just pops in immediately. And you can also see the stitch over here. So you can easily maneuver the shape. You see, you can hit the fit button right here and it will fit the projector on it. And then using your rotate option here, you can rotate in such a way, make sure you're not using, you rotate in one particular angle only, you see that? So this way you should be able to easily maneuver this point nicely, okay? This is just to show you how you can create a flat layout. I mean, for me, this looks fine at the moment, to be honest with you. Like, I'm not going to stress too much. This looks really great. I think the layout looks really nice. And then I can select all of this. You see, and then simply go hit relax, okay? And I'm going to choose relax by polygon and hit apply. And there you go. What this did, it resized my islands. These are called islands according to the actual size of the model. Okay, that's what it does. Close it, and then I will go ahead and just say pack UVs. This is something we learned last week as well. If you remember, we packed those UVs. So that's precisely what I'm doing. The moment you hit pack UVs, this menu pops open. I don't think I have to stress too much on any of the settings. I'm just going to leave them the way it is. I'm not going to touch them and hit OK. So what it does, it just beautifully packs everything in this single layout that we're working with. Okay, so that's what you want to do for your first object right there. Okay, now I just realized I'm getting this small issue with this particular object here. You see this weird looking face, so I need to fix that. Okay, now the only way I can fix it, the reason is because my object is not converted to editable poly. That's the reason why I'm getting this triangular issue. So I'm just going to right click first, convert it to edit poly, and I might have to unwrap this piece again. So again, it's not a complicated process. It's since we already unwrapped it before, this should be relatively quick, and there you go. You see it's fixed the issue that your triangle is not there anymore. So just to keep an eye out for that. So you might want to convert this to edit poly first and then start the unwrap process. Okay, so that's it. That looks pretty nice. And once again, if you want to go into tools, relax it first. You always want to relax it before packing it. So hit the polygon angle, hit apply. You see it relaxes very nicely, and then hit pack UVs. Okay, I'm gonna not change anything, just hit OK, and boom, there you go. It packs it nice and clean. Okay, so that's the first step. That's the most easiest model to look at. And also, if you go back to UV editor, this is just to check right here on the top right corner. There's an option called texture checker. If you hit that button, and it will show up this particular texture on your model as well. If you press F3, you should be able to see it. And what you want to look for when you apply this thing, right? You want to make sure that nothing is stretching in a weird way. And also, these texts are not inverted in any way. You see, right now all my text looks clean, everything looks nice, so I am pretty happy with the way it looks. So yeah, this is pretty nice. I'm gonna stick with this. Okay, so this is our first object. Now let's just leave this aside. Let's start with this piece right here. Okay, and I am pretty much going to do the same thing. You see, if you treat this particular piece as a cylinder, it's going to be the same concept. You know, you treat the bottom as one surface, the top as one surface, and this as a whole cylindrical piece. Okay, now because this is not a flat cylinder, it's a more tapered cylinder. That's why it might look a bit confusing in the beginning, but like I said, if you just treat it as a normal shape, this will be a lot easier. Okay, so let's get into it, and I'm going to quickly apply again the Unwrap UVW right here. Okay, and then I'm going to go to my polygon selection right here. I'm going to select my first polygon right here, as you can see, and you can simply hit the plus button right here. It will expand your selection. There you go. That's the fastest way to select. Or you can just simply go on selecting like this, which is going to take you centuries, I personally believe. So my fastest way to do it is just I click and then I hit the grow button right here. So that way you can quickly expand on your selection. Okay, and to this again, I will look at doing a flat planar projection, because remember, we want the projection to be from the top. So right here is our planar button. I'm going to hit that button right here, and look at that. We get this beautiful projection right there, and you can immediately see as well what's happening. That looks amazing in the editor. Take this, move it aside. Okay, minimize it. Again, start from the bottom now, over here. Select this first polygon, hit grow a couple of times. There you go. So I'm just working at the flat bottom area, and then again hit planar projection. And when you open the editor, you will show this shows up again. You will see this shows up again. I apologize again. So if I just show you undo, this is how it's sitting before. But the moment I give a planar projection, this is what happens. Turn off the planar projection, and then you'll be able to move it aside. Okay, if you don't turn it off, remember, you will have difficulty. If you don't turn off the planar projection right here, you won't be able to maneuver this thing. Okay, so you want to turn it off once you're done, and then move it aside. Okay. And then finally, last but not the least, this piece right here, I don't think I have to unwrap this thing because it's already nicely done. You can see this green cut now. So all these green lines here represent the places where I've cut the model from. You see, there's a cut over there, there's a beautiful cut here, and there's a beautiful cut right here. Okay, so I've already have these cuts. Now it's just a matter of relaxing them. Okay, look at this. If I apply a UV checker quickly, you will notice this weird thing happening. You see these numbers are flipped. Not only that, this is smaller in scale, the text, whereas this scale is bigger, and it's also squeezed, so we want to get all the proportions correct. That's really important. And here you can see there's this weird thing happening. That's really not nice. So we need to clean up everything right here, okay? And the best way to do it is always going to Tools and just say relax, and I always prefer using the polygon angles. Most of the time it works like a charm, but by any chance, if you ever encounter this problem that this polygon angle is not working, you can try different options. Do not go for centers. Centers is not the best ideal scenario because this is usually nice for characters and stuff, okay? So I would recommend use polygons, edge angles, and unfold 3D. These three are like your go-to, but first always start with the polygon angles. Hit apply, and hit apply a couple of times. Look at that, until it keeps on relaxing. And for me, I am getting a pretty decent result. Why I'm hitting this button constantly, let me just show you that first. Let me undo everything before and after. So I'm gonna first make this window a bit smaller, okay? Now why in the previous case it was very quick, but in this situation it's taking a bit of time, because remember, this is a bit more complex design, okay? So that's the reason. You can see the numbers here are flipped as well. Look at this, the C5 looks weird, D5 looks weird. So this object needs to flip, this object needs to resize. So it takes a little bit of time for this model to open up, okay? So that's the reason we have to hit this a couple of times. So if you hit apply for the first time, look at this. This is not a good result. That's the reason I have to hit it again, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. And you see, you gotta keep going until things start to relax nicely. And you can see things have started to take a better shape now. Again, it's not 100% yet, but it's getting there. Even here as well, you can see we need to ensure, keep on hitting apply, so it's nice and clean. And you can see all these lines are nice and straight now. This section, previously they were a bit jagged. This one right here has not opened up nicely, but we'll see how to open that up even more. But so far it's looking good. We're having some troubles in this section, but that's not a problem. This section is good, I'm happy with it. But yeah, let's work on this part, okay? So I'm just gonna select this part here. You can turn on this option called element, so this will allow you to select everything in one go, this island in one go, okay? Let's apply, and let's try maybe edge angle this time. And look at that. So you see in this situation, I have to switch from polygon to edge. So I did the edge angle, it opened up really nicely. And then I'll switch back to polygon, let's see what happens, and boom, look at that. So it's about experimenting. Remember that if you ever encounter these kind of situations, right, when you are not able to open up a lot through polygon mode, maybe try edge angle, you know, and then back again, switch to polygon. And this time, look at this, how clean and beautiful this unwrap of mine looks like. Does it make sense? Now, this piece right here, it's flipped. I mean, it's upside down, but it's not flipped anymore, which is a good thing, you know? So, I mean, it's an easy fix. I can just simply take this, here's a rotate option. I can simply rotate it 180 degrees, and that's solved this problem, okay? So there we go. So this is a very nice layout, and I can use this for my object now. All I have to now do is, again, just pack them. Go to Tools, and pack. So everything packs in nicely. So we're gonna go, oh sorry, not relax, we're gonna use pack, 1 second. And again, I'm not gonna change anything, I'm just gonna use unfold 3D, hit OK, and boom, done. So that's a beautiful unpacking that I've done. Beautiful packing I've done, and the model looks really nice, the unwrap, the layouts look very clean, and that's what you wanna go for. Okay, so this is gonna be my second object. Now for moving on from here, let's turn this off. Now you can pretty much do the same thing for this object as well. Just to highlight what you might want to look for when you're working on this object is that you want to make sure that you cut this model from, let me highlight, you want to cut this model from here and from here, okay? So that will give you 2 pieces of cylinder if you think about it, all right? And then if you cut from the inside, one line like this and another line like this, that will precisely lay out a nice ring model for you, okay? So just to do it very quickly, I'm gonna demonstrate it as well very quickly. And then we wanna make sure that we only do one unwrap, and then we can do multiple copies of it and work on it. Okay, that's the plan, that's the process we're going to follow. Okay, so this model will be very quick and fast, but I might have a slightly different approach on this. Okay, so check this out. So we're going to learn a new set of tools now, how to cut things. Okay, so Unwrap UVW. That's the first thing you want to start with. So here we go. We have Unwrap UVW applied, and now staying in the polygon mode, right? Or even if you don't want to stay in polygon mode, it's absolutely fine. Let's just select everything. I'm just going to destroy all the UVs first. Okay, there we go. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to edge mode this time. Like I said, I want to cut from here. So I want to double tap on this right here. See this? And double tap on this. So I have two of these lines selected. Like I said, this is where I want to make my cut from. Okay. I'm going to go to editor. And in the editor, you can see this is what my layout looks like right now. It's pretty terrible. Okay. I'm going to right click and just say break. The moment I do that, look at this, I immediately get this green line, which indicates that the model has been cut from here. Okay? Not the model, but the layout has been cut. It doesn't do anything physically to the model, remember that. So anyway, that's done. The next step would be, as I said, I want to cut from the inside. Okay? So for that, again, stay in the edge mode. I'm going to double tap here like this, as you can see. And if you want, you can take this section as well. Actually, that's pretty nicer, much nicer. So I'm going to go with that. And just with this line selected, right click and just say break. Done. So now you can see we have done our cuts. Okay. Now it's just a matter of opening them. So I'm going to take this entire piece. Now you see with polygon mode, if I'm trying to select it, only selects one polygon. But if I activate this button, it will allow me to select the entire island. You see that? So that's what you want to do. So with the move tool, pull this out. Okay, now we need to open this up. So I'm going to take this in this, and the way to do it will be relax. Okay, I'm going to try with polygon angles. You can also activate this checker map in case if you want to see how things are looking at the moment. And at the moment, they're not looking good. Look at this. This looks good, but this looks bad. We want to make sure everything is nice and even. Okay, so here I'm going to tap apply. As long as things start relaxing, you just keep on doing that. And you can see now on my layout, I have these jagged lines. You want to get rid of them. Okay, these jagged lines, you want to get rid of them. So once again, keep on tapping this until they relax fully. Okay, so this might take a little bit of time. Just keep on doing this. And you can see the models are opening really nicely. For a change, you can also try edge angle and hit that. So that might speed up the process a little bit. But you see, sometimes it does these kind of issues, but then switch back to polygon and then hit apply again. And look at this beautiful layout that I have done. Okay, I mean, it's not the greatest layout, but it's not bad either. This is a very usable layout. And then there we go. That looks pretty good. Go around, have a quick glimpse of your model. Look at this. You can press, by the way, F2 to change the color of your selection. You see F2. So this way you can actually see your model nicely. And look at this, all my text looks nice. There's no weird stretching happening. Everything's pretty good and clean. So I think I'm good to go with this one. I'm going to simply go and pack this thing. So go to map tools and just hit pack UVs and hit OK. That does it very quickly. Okay, so this island is done. Okay, or this object is done. Now for this thing, I'm going to start making copies. So all you got to do now is just take this model, hold shift and drag it like this. Okay, and I don't know, whatever copies you have, which is I'm going to make about like 8 or 10 for now. And there you go. Maybe one more, and that should be done. So here we go. Here are all our rings now, unwrapped and laid out nicely. Okay, this is my trick. So what I like to do always is like I quickly do these kind of unwraps, you know, lay them out. And then the later stage will be we will start attaching these pieces. Okay, so again, we're going to get into the attach process very soon, but this is the first stage. Okay, so as you see, we unwrapped these 3 models, which were very similar, 1, 2, and 3. Simple cylindrical shape. Okay, now with this model right here, I'm not going to unwrap. I think you guys should be able to pick it up based on whatever we did on the previous models. It's the same treatment. Use your imagination. This one as well as this piece right here, I will let you guys use your imagination and unwrap perfectly. Okay, so I'm not going to do it for this recording, but we're going to tackle this piece right here. It's a very unique looking shape, okay? Like I said, treat it as a box, okay? And everything will be fine. So let's just take a quick look at how this object is shaped at the moment, okay? So what I want to look at is you have this beautiful box right here, overall box shape, as you can see. Okay, so this entire chunk in the middle is one box, but then treat this side of the object as a different box, and that way your life will become a lot more easier, because you must be wondering like, oh, this is such a complex geometry. It's actually not if you start breaking things down. So we have box number 1, which is in blue, box number 2, which is in red, and then we have box number 3, which is in yellow over there. Okay, so if you treat or break down your object into 3 simple shapes, all right, you should be able to easily unwrap this thing without any troubles. So like I said, box number 1, box number 2, and box number 3. Okay, so this is going to be our next topic, that is how to unwrap this complex shape. Cool. So I'm going to stop the recording so you guys can finish up all the cylinders very quickly, and then jump into this next recording for your box unwrap. Okay, so thanks guys, and I'll see you soon. Alright guys, let's continue from where we left. So while you guys were gone, I landed up finishing the unwraps for this particular cylinder. Like I said, I used the same concept, and this one right here as well, pretty much the same concept I applied, and I got the unwrap for these 2 objects done. Alright, now we are going to start with this particular piece, which is one of the most complex pieces in this entire model. Okay, so without further ado, let's get started. So I'm going to first isolate this model. Again, get into the habit of isolating models, because it makes your life a lot more easier. So just to bifurcate something and just work on them individually. Otherwise, you'll always be like looking at this chaos over here. So I always use a lot of isolation mode by pressing Alt-Q, or you can simply press this button right here. Okay, and you can press Alt-Q again to exit the isolation mode. Okay, so the same thing, press this in and out. Okay, so to switch on and off. So there we go, that's our object. So I'm going to start the unwrap process on this one. Now, as I said, initially the unwrap process could be a bit like confusing, like how would you approach this, but again, work with sections and everything will be fine. That's my recommendation all the time whenever I'm trying to unwrap some complex geometries like this. Okay, so first let's apply our Unwrap UVW here, as you can see, or just go to modifier list and look for Unwrap UVW. I have my own shortcuts assigned, so I just hit the button and it takes me there. Now, as you can see, by default, whenever you apply Unwrap UVW, 3ds Max will always try to be your friend and give you a default unwrap. Now, this default unwrap is terrible. Let me just open the editor and show you guys. You see, this is just terrible. All the polygons are overlapping each other, and this is just not a good unwrap. Okay, so you want to make sure that you create your own unwraps all the time. Okay, so what I'm going to do first thing is I'm going to destroy whatever 3ds Max has done. I'm just going to hit a planar projection and do it from the front view. As you can see, I just changed the axis, fit, and turn it off. So when you do that, you will notice that this is the kind of layout that it creates, which is fine, not bad, not the best either. Now, going further, what I'm also going to do is I'm going to select the entire polygon in the middle. Okay, all this section here. But when you drag and select, you'll also realize that this option, this area is not selected. Okay, so if you press this button here called Ignore Backfacing, you just want to turn that off. And then this time, again, try selecting it. And this time you will realize that it will select everything for you. Okay, so once again, Ignore Backfacing is by default turned on. You might want to turn it off when you are trying to select certain sections. Okay, so this is a very quick way to select the entire piece in the middle. Alright, so once this is looking good, you can realize that I have 3 chamfer lines here, or 2 chamfer polygons here, as you can see this. So I will just hit expand once, okay? And that is going to help me out. Cool. So again, if your model doesn't have this, then it's fine. But if your model does, then make sure you just hit this plus sign once so you get this one extra area selected. Okay, so it will also select this side as well. So just to show you, before and after pressing this plus sign, it will expand my selection by 1 cell. Okay, there we go. And then what I'm going to do is I will simply break it. Okay, so I'm going to separate this piece. So right click and just say break. Okay, zoom out and you can easily take this piece out now. Okay, so now what we're left with is the side chunks. So I'm going to select all of this side area right here. You can also select from here, by the way, by just drag and selecting. And then I'm going to give another planar projection, but this time I'm going to do it from a different axis. Let's try maybe y-axis, turn it off, and that's better. And there we go. Now with the element mode active, I can select the entire island and I can leave it on the side. Okay, so this is just a quick way to split things. Now we need to work on this area. The problem is right now they're overlapping on each other. You see they're sitting on top of each other, which is not a good thing. We need to open this entire object flat. Okay, so how do we do that? Let's see. So the fastest technique that I could think of is I'm going to go underneath here. You see I have one line here. I'm going to take this line and separate it. So I'm just going to simply double tap on this line. But when you double tap, you will also realize that it selects all the objects that you don't, all the areas that you don't need. So one thing I'd like to do is just deselect from this part, and there you go. You have this section only now, the top and bottom. Okay. So now what I do is right click and I'm just going to hit break. Done. So you can see I have split this area now by checking this green line right here. And now I'm going to go to polygon mode, select this entire polygon element and bring this out. So now you can see I have easily separated this part and this part right here. Okay, so that's the fastest way to go. Now the next step would be just to relax them. But before doing that, I also want to check the UV pattern. Let's see how it looks. This side looks good. This side looks terrible. You can see it's all stretching over here. Let's see how this side is. This side is not good either. This one. You can see the numbers are flipped. The numbers are flipped. So you can just quickly unflip it by right clicking and just say flip horizontally. And there you go. So this side is at least better now. So there we go. This is my quick way of starting the fixing process. There we go. The bottom looks terrible as well. So now we can start relaxing this area. So relaxing will help open up this area nicely and give a nice sound, a smooth outcome. Okay. So by the way, you can access your relax from here, or you can also simply right click in your editor and hit, you see there's a relax button right here. I'm going to hit this button here, which will give me this menu instantly. Okay. So now I'm not going to use unfold. I would recommend not to use unfold. I mean, it is a good option, but the problem is, personally, with my own experience, I've had a lot of crashes. I don't know. I'm not the best fan. I'm not the biggest fan of this thing. I'm going to go again with the start polygon option. So this always works like a charm. A combination of polygon and edges always works like charm for me, at least. Okay, so I'm going to hit apply and look at that. The model has started to open up now. You see, that looks pretty cool. And you can also see, look at this. This area has opened up as well nicely, which is quite good. So I'm going to hit apply, 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 and that's nice. Let's just zoom in. Let's have a quick skim through it. And that is looking good. But there are some areas right here. You see this? The polygons are overlapping now. I don't know if you can see this thing, but let me just highlight. You can see this section here, this section here. The polygons are overlapping on top of each other. This is not a good thing. We always want to make sure that polygons never overlap. Now, there are several ways to fix it. You can either select, you might want to turn off the element mode if you have it on. Just turn it off. So you can select this thing. And then you can simply right click and say relax and simply hit the relax button and then rearrange it. So you can just scale it down and use the move tool and move it right here. So this is one quick way of fixing it. Sometimes you have to always look, and sometimes you can just move things around and fix it as well, like this. You see, this is all fine, this is all fine. Here it's not fine, so I'm going to select all these guys, perhaps push it out here. And this section here, I'm going to select and just going to hit relax again. And once again, scale this down and move it here. So sometimes you can manually correct you'll have to manually correct these areas. You see, these congestions are not good. The problem again is because if you have congestions like this, when you start your texture painting process, the textures will start to overlap on each other. So let's say, for example, if this polygon hypothetically, is overlapping with this polygon. So whatever you paint here will land up painting here as well. And that's something you want to avoid at every cost. Okay, so this is the reason I always prefer, or in the industry, they always want to have a nice and clean unwrap. Okay, so you want to just have a quick skim through this entire thing. And look at here as well, I have some issues. I mean, I can just move things around a little bit, and there you go, that fixes it. So these are like some cheap ways of, or cheap alternatives to fixing your issues of overlap and stuff. And yeah, once you have that in order, everything will be fine. So just gonna take a couple seconds, you know, just relax them, scale them, and then just take this. I'm gonna use my move. The shortcuts, by the way, is the same for move, is WER. So you can pretty much use that, and there we go. Just make some room over here. You see there's a bit of an overlap here. We're just gonna scoot that over here. That solves it for me, and that looks good. There is some minor issue here and there. Everything is fixed now, you see. So just minor overlaps here. So we need to always ensure they're nice and clean. Here as well, just ensure they're nice and clean, so just move them around. There we go, everything's sorted here as well. And yeah, I think we'll pretty much have to do this here as well. So again, just select, move it out, select, and you can try like doing these two selections together. Hit apply again, and one more time, and that's it. That should be good. You can use your bounding box as well, trim it down, and then move it up. There you go. That's also another quick alternative to fix it. Again, we're just trying to be quick in this process because you don't want to invest a lot of time here. So you just want to be very quick in this process. Again, if let's say sometimes you see this could get too much, so what I always like to do is sometimes I maneuver things manually as well, like this. And once you start moving things manually as well, you will realize that it was quite a faster way, in fact, to fix it, rather than trying to use your relax tool and stuff sometimes. So again, I'm showing you all the techniques. Now, which one works in your particular situation is something you have to identify and work with that, okay? So look at this. In this situation, I did not require to use relax. But in this case here, again, I can just move here and move this here, and my problems are solved. Same thing here again. I'm gonna move this here, and just want to make sure things don't overlap. That's it. And there, that's solved. That looks good so far, you know. And here as well, everything. This one I already fixed, so they all look fine. And we have to do this thing one last time over here. So again, let's just do this quickly this time, without getting into explanation that much. I'm just gonna hit relax again. And again, the faster you go, the better it gets, you know, and the more practice you will get with this technique. So again, I'm not trying to play at a certain speed, play this video or anything. I'm just recording it just the way you see it. So yeah, just to show you that it's actually not a complex process. It's a very quick process. You just have to move things around, and that's it. Your problem will be solved. There you go. We're gonna pretty much do the same thing here. Apply, and then that actually made a lot of mess. You see, sometimes in situations like this, it creates a lot of mess, and then cleaning this up manually might take a little bit more articulation. So just be careful, you know, as you practice more, you will find your own ways of fixing things faster. So that's the only way. So it's just practice is what's going to make it better for you guys. Right here, there's a little bit of overlap. And sometimes when you think about it, like this is almost like a process of playing a puzzle, you know, just like you solve these puzzles, and that's pretty much it. So that's technically what's going on here, you know, if you think about it. I'm just making sure things are clean and nice. That's it. And there we go. This is done. And up here, everything's good. And right here as well, all good, all good. So yeah, this model pretty much looks good, or this particular part of the model looks pretty nice. Okay, so now the next thing is we're gonna hit these areas or these objects. Okay, now you can see if I try to relax this thing, it might get a bit complex to unwrap this thing. So the best way is to cut the corners out so that they can open up. So think of it this way: if I have to draw out Alright, sorry about that, so my video just got disconnected. So anyway, this is a part 2 of the same video, or complex shapes. So as I said, let's just draw this out. So right now when you look at it, it's just a simple square piece. But if, and sorry about that once again, if we draw this out, we have a simple square piece, but it has a little bit of chamfering happening at the corners. And that's what makes it a tad bit complex, okay? So we have something like this at the moment, more like an octagon, okay? If you think about it. So if we can cut the corners, cut these corners somehow, so what can happen is this octagon will open up in this shape. So we'll have this big polygon in the middle like this. Okay, and then we will have these octagon pieces on the side. That's the plan. Okay, so this is how we are gonna open this piece. Okay, so yeah, let's just check it out how it works, and we'll take it from there. But remember, this is the concept, this is the idea. We're gonna open it up in this direction. Okay, so yeah, again, always think of planning it as well. If you're ever confused, you don't plan things out. So I sometimes, like when I have complex models or shapes like this, I like to plan it out before I proceed anywhere further with geometries like this. So okay, well, let's get going. So here, in this case, I want to work on this section because this part is taken care of, so I'm just going to leave them on the side. I'm not going to pack or do anything at the moment, just going to let them rest on the side. Okay, let's just work on this section now. So first thing is, I can already see I have a beautiful line running right here. I'm going to just double tap on that line. And you see it selects literally everything, and it also does some selection in this region, so you might want to remove them. Just Alt and drag and you can remove the selection. Okay, so there we go. We just have this much area selected. I also want this to be gone. I don't want this to be selected, so there we go. So now we just have this bit selected. Okay, and then all I'm going to do is I am going to go here and just say right click and say break. There we go. So we have given one more cut here and one more cut here. So this way, this piece right here can open up nicely like this. And this piece can open up nicely. That's the plan. Okay, so that's why we did these cuts. So on the top, all right, it might be a little complex to understand, but it's not difficult. So what we're going to do is we're going to double tap on this line, go closer, click, click, and click. Remember, all the way till this green line, okay? You don't want to go beyond that, okay? And then whatever is not needed, just ensure to remove it. I don't want to delete, I don't want to cut all these objects. So remove all this selection, okay? So this is the first thing you might want to cut. Next thing I want to do is I want to go here and do another cut. Pretty much the same way. So just select, 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 zoom out, select, and there. Okay, we're going to finish this off all the way till this flat plane. That's it. Okay, so these are two cuts I'm going to make here, and I'm going to go here, right click, and just say break. So there we go. That just pretty much does the job for me, and let's hope for the best that it does or opens up this model just the way I planned it now. Okay, so we're going to go for relax. First thing what I'm going to do is I'm going to see that this thing is, you see the alphabets are flipped. So we're going to first flip it. This will just make our life easier. So just say flip horizontally, and that fixes the alphabets for us. And there we go, that problem is solved. And then hit apply. Like I said, now this should be relatively easier and faster. Okay, keep on doing this. And once you're done, zoom in, check if everything looks good. I mean, it pretty much looks nice. There are some issues. I mean, I'll show you what those issues are. It's again this section in the center, as you can see. So that's the area that we have to work with. But again, we can we'll have to manually go in, clean that up. That's the only way. So again, it's going to be quick and fast process. Don't worry. Just turn off your element mode, go to vertex, and then zoom in, and yeah, just start to maneuver these objects around 1, 2. I mean, just move these points. That's what I do generally. I mean, you can again use those techniques that I showed you before, which is using what's it called? Relax techniques or you know, or manual technique, whatever you want. But yeah, you can see now, just by doing these kind of simple movements, look at this, my area here is clean now. I can select these two guys, tuck them in, so that is also clean now. There we go. And move this up here. So all this section is nice and clean now. And this is how you're gonna clean this up. Okay, once again, I think this part doesn't look bad, so I'm good with this. Zoom out. Let's check the bottom area right here. So yeah, this section needs a bit of work. Let's try the relax technique this time, see if it works. And it did for some odd reason, and it was quite fast. So there we go. We're gonna use the scale option here and then move it. There we go. So that is fixed as well, which is pretty quick. So like I said, it's always about experimenting. There you go. This was even faster. And there, that is also clean. Everything's clean. So mostly all the issues that I'm gonna encounter now are in these tight spots. Besides, everything else should be relatively fast and quick. Again, let's just quickly go in and just hit relax and use your scale it down, and right here. Okay, let's just do this part as well. Select, relax, zoom out, scale. And again, the more shortcuts you learn, guys, the faster it will be. So I'm constantly switching between my keyboard buttons, as you can see, and this just speeds up my whole process, you know. So that's the whole process. That's the whole way. And the more shortcuts you learn, the faster your workflow would be throughout the. I mean, that's what you want to do. You know, you want to make your workflow as fast as possible. I personally believe that even if you can save 1 second in the work, that's a lot of time saved. That's personally just my thought. So yeah, try and save as much time as possible is what I'm going to recommend, you know, and get this thing done. So here we're going to scale this down, move it here, move here, and again, just select, relax, scale, and move. So that's the fastest way to maneuver this again. Move this here, zoom in, move this here, zoom out, and select all this, apply, scale, and there. And this one here as well, apply, scale. So anywhere you see these issues, right? So just go in and quickly clean them up. So yeah, this will be just a bit of a painful process. Like I said, just because it's a little complex design, you're going to encounter this problem, but once you get a hang of it, and it's a good way to practice your tools as well. And yeah, you will be very fast with this whole process. You'll get faster with time. And like I said, learn shortcuts. That's the only way, or that's the fastest way, in my personal opinion. And yeah, learn to switch between shortcuts and let your brain automatically tune itself to using shortcuts. Like many times, since I've been using 3ds Max for so long, and like sometimes my hands automatically go to the shortcuts. I don't even have to think about I just have to think, that okay, I need to move my hand, just programmed in such a way that it goes and just presses that button automatically without even thinking. And it's subconsciously so well integrated now with me that sometimes I even forget what the shortcut was, because my hand knows what the shortcut is, my mind doesn't, which is kind of weird, but yeah. But anyway, so this is going to be the whole process for this piece here. And so yeah, I'm pretty much going to do the same for this one, just going to cut out the corners, and then just whatever the problem areas are going to be there, we're just going to go manually clean them up. And once that cleanup is done, what we're going to do, the last step would be to go in and use the pack option right here. And we're going to pack up the entire thing into this section. Okay, so I'm not going to record that, but I hope you guys understand how this process works, and you guys can take it from here. All right, thank you. Alright guys, so let's finalize our model now. So as you can see, every piece here has been unwrapped. I even took care of the leather strap again. So all of it is unwrapped, everything's clean, and we are good to go. So just to show you on the leather strap, if I add Unwrap UVW, Turbo Smooth, you can see how it looks like. So it's pretty cool. So anyway, I'm not going to keep it there, I'm just going to delete it for now. Okay, so now the problem now is every model or every piece here is a different piece. Okay, every object is a different piece, which is good to a certain extent. But I think it's a good idea to club some pieces together, because I don't see a point of having so many elements in there. Okay, so let's say for instance, if I go to the front view and all these rings, okay, the grooves that I made for the handle, I think I can attach them as one piece. So to do that, what you have to do is convert this to edit poly. But first, let me show you that this object is nice and unwrapped. If you check the layout as well, this is the layout we have, okay, which is pretty good. So we're going to right click and convert to editable poly. Remember, we're trying to attach everything as one piece. Don't group it. Group will not help you. Don't use this option. We're going to follow a different technique now. So check it out. So when you convert this to edit poly, you must be wondering like, my Unwrap UVWs are gone. Don't worry, we're going to bring everything back, so there's nothing to stress about. Okay. So here is my first object. Now in your edit poly right here, you can see there's an option called attach. So you can take this option and start attaching these elements now, like this. Okay, so now when you right click, you will realize all of this is one giant piece now. You see this? All the grooves are together as one piece. Okay, you can call this thing like grooves or golden trim or whatever this object is going to be. So that's what you're going to call this thing. Give it a name. It's always nice to give it a name. Okay, you see all the symmetry, everything is gone now, but you can bring back your unwraps. Apply the Unwrap UVW modifier, go to Open UV Editor, and you will instantly see this. Now the problem here is, if there are 10 objects here, I'm only seeing 2 islands, okay? So, technically they're all sitting on top of each other, you see this? That's the problem. There are 10 islands sitting on top of each other, which is not a good thing. So what we need to do is just one small step. The unwrap is done. The only thing is we have to repackage them. That's all. So go pack UVs, and all you got to do is just select your unfold packaging, hit OK, and boom, you can see everything now is laid out in front of you. Open. They're not overlapping anymore. Okay, that's all. That's just one extra step you have to do. Same way, let's try some other objects. So the idea here, or the point here that I'm trying to make is I'm trying to prepare these models for substance. That's the idea. Okay, so I'm trying to clump some of the objects together so we don't have to worry about substance or having so many multiple objects to deal with, you know. So I'm just attaching these elements together. So right now I have these objects. I can attach them as well. Right click, convert to edit poly, and then just hit attach. You can also use attach multiple. So what will happen is when you hit this black box over here, this menu will pop open and you can select things from here as well if you want. So anyway, I'm just going to do it manually. Just click, and you see everything now is attached as one piece. And of course, apply Unwrap UVW modifier again. But make sure when you're applying, guys, one very important step I'm going to highlight. Please always ensure that your subtools, that is vertex, edge, border, polygon, element, these are turned off. You don't want to see any icon here before you move forward. You see this? You don't want to see these icons here. This is very important, okay? So in the modifier list, I'm going to go in, apply Unwrap UVW. There we go. And once Unwrap UVW is applied, you will go to the editor and then you will instantly see everything is sitting on top of each other. So again, the solution here is very simple. We're going to select everything and just simply say pack UVs, all right, and hit OK, and they will repackage themselves. Sounds good? It's a very small fix to do. Again, very quick and easy. And there's one issue, by the way, you might encounter, that sometimes these things go above the line. You don't want them to go beyond the line. They should sit inside this particular box here, okay? This is where they all should be sitting. Otherwise, substance will start giving you problems, just to give you a heads up on that, okay? So we have to just prepare this model before we take it to substance, okay? And then this one's fine. Again, give it a name. I'm gonna call this hammerhead, or just a head, whatever you wanna call it, you know? So I'm just gonna give it a name called head, and this is gonna be the handle. Okay, cool. And yeah, just name your object. Call this one leather strap. Don't leave like plain and stuff. Give it a nice name, you know. This will always, having practice like this will always take you extra mile in the industry as well. People love having, like, you know, names given to their objects so they're easy to identify and stuff like that. Okay, so this would be my advice to you guys, that name your assets properly and just, yeah, have your model ready. Look at this, this is laid out very nicely. Again, just a final note that we don't have any turbo smooth applied to this object right now. This object does not have any turbo smooth, everything is low poly. We will apply turbo smooth to this object, but a lot later, not at this point. Okay, so that's going to be again at the later stage. This basically prepares this model for texturing. Now, like I said, if you want to attach a few things again, you can feel free to do so. Let's just say if you want to attach the handle, just the wooden handle, to the leather strap, you can do that as well. So you can texture them together as well. So that's also possible. All you gotta do is just go attach, apply Unwrap UVW again, and then just head to the editor and then repackage them, because you see they're sitting on top of each other, overlaps. You want to avoid that as much as possible. Okay, otherwise the problem that's going to happen is, again, you see this strap here belongs to the leather one, and this one belongs to the wooden handle. So let's say if you land up painting wood over here, it will also show up on the strap. So whatever texture you paint on this island, it will show up on that island as well. So you don't want that to happen. So overlap should be avoided. Okay, so we're going to pack this UV. It's a very quick process. There we go. That was very quick and fast. Okay, now again, always remember, guys, if you're working on a game model, let's just say, for example, you get a chance to work on, I don't know, a game. So I'm just going to show you what could happen. So just to make a quick note here, let me just erase all this just a second. Okay, so this one, let's say this is for film production. For film, you can keep this model separated, all these elements. You can see there are still a lot of elements that are separated. I haven't attached everything, but for games, you can attach everything. Okay, so just to show you a quick workflow on this, you can attach this all as one single object. Again, this is a game's workflow that I'm showing you, okay, if you're doing it for games. So for that, what I would do is I will simply go here, convert this to edit poly, because in games, what happens, they're not going to use turbo smooth. For film, they use turbo smooth. So when you have turbo smooth involved, you don't want to attach everything, because remember when we did turbo smooth on this head, it kind of looked weird, so you don't want to do that, okay? But for games, we don't use turbo smooth, so we try to accomplish the result without turbo smooth. So that's when it makes sense to attach all these guys. So here I'm going to go in, attach everything. This is again just to show you a demo on what exactly would happen. So you would see now, as a game asset, this thing is all attached as one. But what's going to happen, the unwraps are going to look extremely terrible. Look at that. That's the worst unwrap you can ever find. You see, they're all overlapping each other. It's a chaos, okay? So my recommendation would be to select everything. Control A is the shortcut to select everything. Go to Tools and simply just say Pack UVs and hit OK, and you will notice that it packs everything for you. Again, look at that. Everything is packed into this one massive layout, and yeah, then you can easily go ahead, start texturing without any issues. And yeah, this will be perfect game ready model for you, okay? Because yeah, for games, you want to make sure everything is attached because there is no turbo smooth workflow. But for this one, you want to keep turbo smooth, so don't attach everything. I am making sure all the objects that will have turbo smooth, let's say for minus this piece, I think everything else is going to have turbo smooth. So I will make sure there's no attachment, nothing else is attached to this piece. I will keep it separate. Okay, so hope this makes sense. I will keep on uploading more videos where you will also see my texturing process and pick up from there. Okay, so thank you so much, guys. Hey guys, how's it going? So I just wanted to share with you guys a quick update on something. So when I prepared my model in the last file or in the last video, I tried importing this in Substance, and I started encountering some problems. And I want to address some of those problems with you guys. You may end up getting those problems, okay? So let's just check it out first, how to export this thing, okay? First, let's check out what the issue is. So here is my model. This thing, I'm going to use this model. I'm going to go to File and hit Export and say Export Selected. So this is very important. Make sure that whatever you want to export, make sure you select that, okay? Go to File, export and export selected. If you have your project folder set perfectly, please remember, you need to have your project folder. And once you have your project folder set perfectly, you can easily, it will automatically take you to this folder called export. And this is where you will export your object. The file format that you will be using is called GW OBJ exporter. All right, please remember that, GW OBJ exporter, and use the file name called Mijolnir or whatever name you want to give it. So I'm going to call it Mijolnir version 1. Okay, so this is my file. I'm going to save it and whatever, don't worry about anything, hit export. So it's going to export your selected object. Again, remember, use the selected option. Okay, and here I'm going to start Substance now, so just give it a second. My Substance is about to start, and I'm going to show you how to import this file. And let's hope I get that same problem that I encountered before, and if I do, then I'll show you how to fix that problem. Okay, so here with Substance, right here, you're going to go to File, start with New, Control N, and right here you want to select the template as PBR Metallic Roughness, go with that, and then in the file, go select your Mijolnir version 1. Right here, you see the OBJ file that we exported. OBJ stands for object, remember that. So we're going to take that file, hit open, and everything else I'm going to leave it the way it is and press OK. So, I did not encounter any problem for now, and it worked like a charm. Okay, which is amazing, but let's check it out. Let's just confirm this quickly. So I'm going to zoom out, texture chest, okay, texture set, sorry, not chest, I apologize. So you can see this is what my object looks like, and in the texture set you can see there are different objects here. You can hide and unhide them. Right now I've selected the groups, that's the reason it's only showing me the groups. The next thing is this object right here. If you select this, then you select this object, then you can see all the different layouts that I've shown up here. Okay, so that's the only thing. Now just to show you a little bit work that I have, and I'm going to show you some changes that I did to my model as well, so just to show you. So right now I did not encounter any problem, but if by any chance if you do encounter the problem where Substance is not willing to import your model, what you might want to do is select your model, go to your Unwrap UVW, open editor, and then you might want to select everything, okay, and just scale it down slightly like this, just a slight bit. So many times what happens when these UVs are sitting at the edge, right? So if they're sitting at the edge, Substance does not recognize them, and that's the reason we have to ensure that we give that a little bit of scale like this, okay, just a little bit, not too much. Okay, you don't want to scale it too much, otherwise you're going to land up losing resolution. You don't want to make it this small, so just be careful with that. Just a little scale, just scale it down a little bit so that it just stays away from the edges. That's all you have to do. Once you fix that to all your models, you will be fine. One again, important thing, you want to make sure there is no troubleshoot, turbo smooth. I apologize once again. There is no turbo smooth applied to any of the objects. Okay, so this is a very vital piece of information in case this may happen or this may not happen. If it doesn't happen, you're lucky. This is not relevant to you. But if this does happen where you're having troubles importing this file in Substance, then this is the way to fix it. You just select it and just open the editor and just select everything and scale it down a little bit. That's all. Now, just to show you that I have done some changes to my model. Now, what are those changes? I want to show you that. It's nothing major. I did not change anything major. All I did was I attached a few more objects together. So you see I put all the metals in one. So you can see the top, this piece, the groups, and the bottom piece. I put them all as one piece, one giant structure. And this is the kind of an island that I've created. So I just went with that minor change here, and that's rest everything else is same. Okay, so again, I'm gonna call this video as troubleshoot video. This is only if you encounter this problem, otherwise avoid it. All right, thank you.